Hey everyone, in today's lesson, Super Dad will talk to us about the importance of stretching for swimming. He'll discuss the difference between active and passive stretching, the importance of not just knowing a stretch, but knowing how to be conscious of where or what you're stretching, and when to stretch to get the most out of your swimming. That is Super Dad stretching in the background. My name's Aaron, and I'll be your interpreter.
Hello! 水泳人口ヤッホースーパーお父さんです。
Hey fellow swimmers, welcome to Swimming for Health. Super Dad here. Thanks for liking and subscribing. Let's dive into today's lesson. Today we're going to be talking about the stretching that you might be doing before and after swimming. Stretching and having a flexible upper body is comparatively more important in swimming than other sports. For swimmers, flexibility around the shoulders is extremely important. The more you practice, the better you get with your swimming. You start to develop more clear goals about what it is that you'd like to achieve through your swimming. You might want to be swimming faster or with better technique. And the swimming that you may start to want to model is generally someone that you've seen competing at an Olympic or an elite level, and they've got incredible flexibility. These elite athletes for swimming can have this incredible flexibility in their upper bodies. Regardless of the sport it is you're going to do, that flexibility in your upper body is important. So today, less than or rather than, this stretch is good or this stretch is good, what I'd love you to do is put that to the side and focus a little bit more on sort of your thinking, your way of thinking around flexibility and stretching. Stretching is separated into two different types. You've got your active stretches and your passive stretches. Active meaning to move, whereas passive meaning to be more subtle, with very limited movement. With your active stretches, for this movement specifically, you're going to be more pulsing the arm or pulsing the stretch rather than in your passive stretch, while you're going to be holding it for a longer period of time. For this instance, you may be holding the position for anything longer than 30 seconds. It could be 1 minute, it could even be 2 minutes. We've got the two stretches, active, passive, one moving, one held for a long time. In general, your active stretches is your warm-up, while your passive stretching is more about developing flexibility and care. You can use it for your cool downs. Usually when you're getting warmed up, you're preparing for something, you're going to be moving your body around. That'd be your active stretching. First, I suggest either swimming or whole body walking at a slow pace to begin the cool down. Once your body is more calm, you've lowered your heart rate and relaxed, begin the cool down with your passive stretches, for example, on your arms or shoulders or wherever it is that you feel tired. Listen it out. Now, both your active and passive have benefits. They've got their own points to them. But I really would advise, don't just memorize the position, specifically by the form or the way you hold your body in that position. There's a lot of people that have memorized the form, however, they don't have an understanding of where they're stretching in the moment. So what I'd like you to do, or what I'd like you to be able to do, is focus on where hurts or where you'd like to increase the flexibility. Identify it, solve it, and then do your stretch based on that consciousness. Don't memorize the form. Be conscious of where you're stretching. With this stretch specifically, you're stretching out the shoulder, your deltoid muscles. I've just moved my arm slightly forward. Now, the stretch location has just changed. No longer am I stretching the shoulder, now I'm stretching out the shoulder blade. Now, although it may look like exactly the same stretch, if you're not focused specifically on where you're stretching in the moment, your stretching might just be a waste. Even with just a minor movement or slight angle change, you're going to change the location that you're stretching. On a day where you might be exhausted, you've got those short shoulder blades, you're going to do this stretch specifically. However, you've memorized the form, you may not have taken the right angle to be stretching the shoulder blade at all. If you focus on it and move and manipulate your body parts appropriately, you can get a lot more out of your stretching. In my honest opinion, it doesn't matter which stretch or what form of stretch you're doing. The most important thing is that you have that consciousness attached and you're making the stretch work for whatever it is that you're trying to achieve in that moment. The more that you stretch over time, you really start to develop an understanding. You get better at figuring out how to make the stretch work for you. I feel that memorizing those forms, for example, this or that position might be good at the start, a good lead into your flexibility. However, understanding the effect of that stretch and understanding how to amplify or make the effect stronger or bigger or work for you harder is more important. At the start, I've mentioned that your active stretching is for before and your passive stretching is for after. Now, you may ask the question, well, can I do the opposite? Now, you can flip those around. You can do the active stretching after and passive stretching before, but fundamentally, it's thought that doing so will decrease the benefits. And let's do an example. Your muscles, imagine them as a piece of rubber. With your passive stretching, what you're doing is you're gently stretching out the rubber that's tightened after being used. Okay, it becomes quite loose. After you've exercised, it's tight. So stretching it out is important, stretching it back to its original position. However, if you're about to get into some exercise and really put your heart and soul into it, get active, right? But by doing passive stretches, if you're going to have your body quite loose and relaxed, that might not be the best way to approach your sport. Archery. Think of a bow and arrow. If you've got a really loose string attached, compared to if you've got a nice, tense, taut string, which one do you think's better? If you think about stretching out your muscles and relaxing them too much before you exercise, it's possibly not the best approach. You may not be able to get the most out of your body. That's the reason that stretching it out after is generally done. Trying to warm up and get your body excited isn't going to be overly useful or effective after you've finished your exercise. Now, this is the best approach for athletes or elite athletes, people that are really trying to get a high performance. There are some people, for example, that think, it really doesn't matter. I'm not trying to get a new personal best or a record today. I'm just here to swim. So rather than trying to get my body all pumped up, what I really want to do is, stretch out my shoulders and body so that I can more enjoy my swimming. And in my opinion, for those people, if you're going to be doing those passive stretches before you're swimming, I don't think there's any problem at all. Look, for the person that really might have a strong desire to hit a new personal best or swim really fast, maybe you're going into a race or something. For the people that aren't likely to injure themselves as well, those active stretches can be really useful. But people that need to stretch out, loosen up their body, and may have injuries, I don't think you need to think that you must do those active stretches and intense warm-up before you start. While doing passive stretches, loosen up your body. You can feel really flexible and comfortable before swimming. It's going to be more difficult for you to get injuries. And if that's the sort of swimming that you enjoy and it's easier for you, I think that's excellent as well, and you should pursue that. Today we talked about our active and passive stretching. See you next time.